Good morning guys, welcome back, Saye, and welcome to today's Gunner Talk. We're back baby, we're back. So let's crack on the game yesterday, Arsenal-Newcastle. I said to you guys I thought it'd be a tricky one, I thought we'd struggle, if he didn't change personnel, and that ended up being the case, didn't it? It was a strange game to watch. We got the result 2-1, another 3 points, we keep the ball rolling. But Newcastle yesterday, Lascelles went off injured. No Shelby, no Rondon, no Kennedy. That was a weak Newcastle team yesterday, and one for me that we should be putting away by plenty of goals. So 2-0 was alright for me, and then we just let in that sloppy one at the death, that took the edge off it a little bit, and we just can't, we're like someone that's been out for 40 pints and 2 curries, we just can't keep the sheets clean, can we? And that's something we've got to sort out. But for me, the defence is looking a bit better. But anyway, let's crack on. So our starting lineup yesterday, checking that, Bellerin right back, Socrates, Mustafi centre-back pairing again, Nacho at left-back, Xhaka and Guendouzi as our sort of holding centre-mids, Rambo as our attacking centre-mid, and then we had Ozil and Obel out wide and Laka down the middle. So let's crack on with what I made of everyone's performances yesterday. Check. Same thing again, innit, guys? It's getting on my tits a little bit. We know he's a decent goalkeeper, we know he can make saves, but he cannot play football. And again yesterday, first time he was asked to play it from his feet, he made an absolute tits of it. And this is something we've got to cut out, because we're not going to change the way we play football. We're going to keep playing this, playing football from the back, goalie out. So that's got to get sorted for me. And another reason that Leno should be getting a start, and hopefully with Europa League midweek he'll get a game, and we'll see what we're missing out by keep playing Czech. But what he had to do, he did well apart from that. We know he can make decent saves, we know he's a decent shot stopper, but as an all-round quality keeper he just don't have enough for me. So it's an average for me for him for yesterday. Bellerin, he's playing better for me. He's been getting steadily better week by week, but he is, for me, our weakest point in our defence. That ball over the top, or that ball in behind the lines, it's down his side every time, and it's, every time we look like conceding, it doesn't take Mystic Meg to look back and go, I bet you it's come down Hector's side. And that's the downside for me. He's getting a lot better going forward, and his final ball's been much better, but our defence, he is our big weak point. And for me it's worrying, and I'd have dropped Litchi in there and give him a rest by now, but hopefully that'll be something that might happen on Thursday. Socrates next up. I was really impressed with him yesterday. He was doing a lot of sweeping up for everybody else, and I think he's doing a lot of firefighting at the minute that he shouldn't be having to do, but he is doing, and he seems to be doing it well for me. And I was impressed with him yesterday. He's growing on me, and they're looking more settled in that pairing at the back. It's not watertight. There is going to be opportunities for other teams, but they felt limited yesterday. Newcastle, they didn't have a shot on target till the 87th minute or something. So there's definitely improvement in there. Although it's not the greatest Newcastle side, but we were looking a lot better. And he made some great last-ditch challenges yesterday for me. Wiping other players' arses, and he's a leader definitely. So, maybe he's winning a few people over, because he definitely is me a little bit, and if he keeps trying the way he is trying, then I have no complaints, Mustafi, couple of mistakes yesterday, but he's been solid for me right from the pre-season stuff, and he's holding his form well, as they both are, and it's starting to grow, that partnership. They're looking much more solid week in, week out for me. So yeah, big thumbs up for the pair of them for me yesterday, although not mind-bogglingly brilliant. They were solid, and I was happy with it, definitely. Nacho, he was all right. You guys know I'm not his biggest fan, and because he's a little bit better than Hector going forward, he doesn't take as much flack for the fact that he's just as bad at the back. And the same problem for me, like I say, his inadequacies in defence are hidden by the fact he chips in a bit up top. But for me, I don't think we need that at the minute. I think we just need defenders that can defend, and for me, 2 out of the 4 can't defend in him and Hector, so that for me is our biggest issue. People are probably pointing out that it's Mustafi and Socrates, but I think they're doing a lot of the dirty work out on the lines as well, so I'd be giving them much more credence than I would to our 2 wing-backs, and for me they're our 2 biggest weaknesses in our side by a long way, and I'd like to see changes there for next season, definitely, because neither are good enough for me at the minute. Xhaka, let's start with his goal. Great finish from the free kick. He looks like two different players for me at the minute. He's alright when it's him, Guendouzi and somebody else in midfield. He then goes up a notch when Torreira comes on, and I felt it was the same yesterday. As soon as he's relieved from his defensive midfield duties and he's allowed to just be our sort of anchor, deep-lying playmaker, he's a completely different beast and a much more impressive player. In second half, he looked like that yesterday for me, just spraying it around nicely. I was happy with him yesterday. You know, another one, although not mesmerisingly good, he was decent. So thumbs up from him. The old Gwendo, the Gwendoozler. Pass to Guendouzi on the left hand side. You guys know I love this kid. I felt a bit cruel for him yesterday, obviously with him getting hooked. I mean, that was obviously from his point of view, that will have been disappointing. But the team, it benefited the team on a whole when he went off. For me, it had to be him or Xhaka got sacrificed for Torreira coming on, and for me, it makes no sense to take Xhaka off and leave him on, because Xhaka's a much better player as it stands at the minute. That might not be the case in another year's time, but for me at the minute, he's much better, much more finished article for me. And as I told you guys from the start with Guendouzi, he's a young kid. If we keep throwing him in the deep end, he'll start making mistakes. And he's been 2 or 3 every single game he's played. It's just that he's been playing that well the rest of the game that he hides it. But you know, yesterday against a few silly mistakes in his naiveness, and he's young, and that's going to happen. So I'm not mad at him for it. And he was probably a bit downbeat that he got hooked, but we got the result after he did get hooked, so it was justified in my opinion. So yeah, he was good for me without being mind-blowing again. You know, there's going to be a recurring theme here, guys, throughout pretty much the entire team. But I've been more than happy with what I've seen from him so far, and he's a real good foil for when Xhaka's not up to it. And yeah, I was happy with what I saw until he got hooked. Rambo, he's been a non-entity for me so far this season. He really needs to pull his fucking finger out for me, because he's not doing it at all, and he's a waste of a player so far for me at the moment. Looks like we're playing with 10 men from the start. Really not on it for me. Yes, I'm sure some of you tell me different, but he's just not doing it for me at the minute. And if he's not doing it for me, then I don't understand why he's at the club still. You know, especially with his contract stuff, that's still not dealt with, is it? It's just embarrassing, the whole situation. And for me, he's playing like it's on his head. So I'm just not happy with him. Not happy with his performances. Not happy with what else is going on. Just not happy. Yeah, he was the worst player for me yesterday by a long way. Easily the worst player. I brought absolutely nothing, and the one chance he did get when Laka did that little touch into him, he absolutely made the tits of it. And you know, that could have got us off to a good start. So yeah, not happy with him. Ozil, man of the match for me. I thought he was awesome yesterday. I'm still not convinced he works on the wing of that front three, but he was making it work yesterday just through pure tenacity. He was running his bollocks off, he was trying his hardest. You know, he's like a blue-ass fly yesterday, and he really impressed me, because people say, oh, it's Mesut, he's lazy, blah blah blah. Well, that wasn't the sign of a lazy player yesterday, and that's not something I've ever thought of him, that he's lazy. And I thought he was brilliant yesterday, always looking for the ball, very hungry, and a nice tidy finish for his goal as well. Yeah, and for me, man of the match yesterday, I thought he was awesome, and more like the Mesut of old, and the Mesut I expect for the money he gets paid. So nice one, Mesut. I was more than happy with you yesterday, pal. Oba, you know, I'm not going to bag on him because he's a quality player, isn't he? But he just can't get himself in the game at the minute. And I don't think it's down to being on the left-hand side of that free, because I think that's where he's got to play. And when he played down the middle, he was the same. He just couldn't get himself in the game. That's not all down to him, because he's not getting the supply maybe, but he was poor again yesterday. And for me, he's somebody who can't play himself into a game. It has to happen for him, or it doesn't happen at all. He's not someone who can sort of grab it by the scruff of the neck and get involved, which worries me a little bit. But you know, he did all right. I don't know. The problem for me is, if he's not on his game, who do we swap him for? He won't be. That's a big downgrade for me. So it's, you know, do you just have to play him through his bad patches? That's how it feels for me at the minute, and that's a bit worrying. But yeah, it's not great yesterday. Laka, what a workhorse this guy! I told you guys, he's such a sleeper for so many, and he is someone who can play himself into a game just through sheer hard work and graft. And he did the same yesterday for me. He looked lively all the time. Lovely link-up play, little balls. into him, you know, just feeding it out to somebody else. And I think he could rack himself up a lot of assists if everybody does the work. You know, yesterday he could have had a couple again, and I felt like that in every game he's played so far. And his link up with Ober's brilliant. He seems to automatically know where he is just instinctively. So he was another one for me yesterday. He was a really close shout to man of the match. You know, although there wasn't much glory in his role yesterday, he just kept on going, and that, I'm a big advocate of that. I love it. So a big thumbs up for me from him yesterday. So first half, guys, it was ugly, wasn't it? There was hardly any creativity. It was just a bit of a dead half. You know, they weren't doing much, we weren't doing much, and it just sort of such a stale game in the first half. And worrying for me again, as I keep moaning, that one ball over the top or through the lines of the centre back and behind our wing back, it's there every time, and it's how we're creating chances for the other side every time, and it's got to get sorted out, or we're going to get punished, and we're never going to keep a clean sheet unless we're playing Mrs. Miggins and her 11. Unless that happens, we're going to keep struggling for it. But you know, hopefully we can create a bit more going forward, and we can just, if you score one, we'll score two, and that's how it feels at the minute. But you know, that's not a sustainable model, is it? And at some point we're going to come crashing down to earth. So hopefully we can improve on the things that aren't going too well at the minute. But you know, there's not much to comment on that first half. It was a bit of a nothing. Subs bang on half time. Guendouzi off for Torreira. I like this from Unai. You know, he's done it nearly every game now. I think he's just, this isn't working. Right, let's make it work. The only thing for me that I have a downside on that is just do it from the start, pal. Torreira's got to start for me because he's our only defensive midfield. And like I said, if it's not him, as much as I'm not a fan of the guy, if he doesn't play out, then he has to start, because we need some protection for the back line and to help our creative players just concentrate on being creative, and they can't do that at the minute, having no central defensive midfielder. And that's the problem for me, how you can't play Rambo, Guendouzi and Xhaka all at once. For me, it has to be Ozil, Xhaka and Torreira for a midfield three for me, and that's just it. I've got nothing else to say on it. Torreira, when he came on, made all the difference once again. You know, creates that foil, sits deep, helps out the defence and helps get moves started going the other way. He's much more than just a centre defensive mid. And I was impressed with him, and I thought he was a game changer again. He made a few clumsy mistakes, but you know, he's someone who's got to get up to speed with match play, so I'm not going to ride him for that, and I thought he was decent when he came on. So thumbs up for me on that front. Couple of other subs, we had Mickey come on for Ober in the 69th minute roughly. Didn't really have any time to affect the game, didn't really get into it, so I'm not going to waste too much time talking about him. And then on 80 minutes, Rambo came off for Welbs. You guys know I'm a big cheerleader for the get Danny Welbeck out of Arsenal fan club. And the worrying thing for me yesterday was when Laka slipped him through with that ball. He had no legs, he'd been on for 5 minutes and he couldn't outpace a centre-back that's been on for 75, and for me that was frightening. And if he hasn't got any pace and he ain't got the legs anymore, then there's no upside to him for being at the club for me. You know, the only excuse a lot of you who like him have said to me, well, he tries hard and he runs a lot. Well, he hasn't even got legs anymore from what I saw yesterday, so for me he's a definite one for the chop list there. And if we give him a new contract, honestly, I'm going supporting Salford week in, week out. I'm not watching us anymore. That's it on that one. I'm not going to be too moody about it. And yeah, when he came on, the few chances he had, he made the tits off for me. You know, his old falling over routine, so I'd give him a 2. It's just crap. I just want to see the back of him. I don't see how we move forward with players like that, I really don't. The help keep us average. But second half, you know, Torreira came on, and for me it made all the difference. His defensive cover freed up Xhaka, freed up Rambo. You know, Rambo was a bit of a nothing still, but Ozil kicked it into overdrive in the second half, in between the channels, in between the lines, moving all the time, and it made a massive difference. You know, it's no shock that defensive cover equals we become more creative going forward, and you know, that elusive clean sheet again, we just can't keep one, can we? And that's got to become, it's becoming a problem, and it's something we've got to look to get sorted. But we got the 3 points. We move up the table a little bit more. You know, you take out the couple of rough games we had at the start. We shouldn't have lost to Chelsea. You know, we were poor against City, but apart from that, we're just slowly just on the rise. So you know, it's underwhelming the way we're playing at the minute, but I'm pleased that we're just at least getting the results, because I don't feel we would have done last year. I think we would have been struggling for draws. Yesterday, Cardiff, I don't think we'd have come out with the 3 points. So there's definitely something there. There's definitely something to build on, and we just keep we just keep moving forward and we keep the wheels rolling. You know, next game Thursday, Vorskla in the Europa League. I'm hoping to see some changes there. I definitely want to see Leno start. I definitely want to see Litchi start. I definitely want to see Torreira get some game time. Eddie, Reese, the same. Ainsley, I want to see them all start midweek. And you know, that was the thing for me when Welbeck came on. Is we've got to be careful with this, because Eddie and Reese must be looking, going, how is this guy continually starting ahead of us? You know, new contract for Reese. If I was him, I wouldn't be signing one, because I'd be looking, going, you know, these guys are picking Danny Welbeck over me. Why would I stay here? You know, what does that say? How we feel about Reese's future if Welbs is more likely to start in front of him? For me, that spells big trouble. You know, and if we end up keeping Welbs this year and let him leave on a free, and because we've kept playing him this year, Reese goes out the door, I'll be absolutely fuming, guys, not going to lie. But hey, let's not moan too much. We're on the up. Things are looking better. We're moving on a little bit. So, reasons to be optimistic, if not overjoyed at the moment. So that's it from me, guys. Sorry it's been a bit of a long in the tooth, bit dull Gunner Talk, but we're back in the game, and I'll keep popping these up. Sorry I've not had one up, but I've been all over Europe the last few weeks, here, there and everywhere on the international games, so I've just had no time for anything. But hope you've enjoyed, guys. Hope you enjoyed the game yesterday. Any comments with anything, get them into me down below on my Twitter or on here. And take care and have a lovely Sunday, guys. Signing out. Come on, you Gooners.